Now we will see why we need to preserve food, what are the factors that are responsible that we need to do so much efforts on preservation of food, and there's so many preservation technologies and there's so much development that takes place within this sector of food. Especially most of the food processing industries involve processing or preservation operations in a very detailed. So the main reasons, if we talk about the agriculture and the way agriculture products are produced, one of the key factor that is responsible for doing all these preservation exercises or practices is that there is always an inappropriate or improper planning in the agriculture sector, by which I mean that there are seasonal fluctuations or production of certain crops, fruits, and vegetables. So there are seasons in which there is an abundance of a specific product within the market, and then there might be season when we don't have access to those food products such as fruits or vegetables or crops or grains or different cereals which are not present in the market. So agriculture cannot be planned in a way that in an industrial fashion. So these raw materials may be abundant in one time and they might not be present in the market in other times. So this kind of planning is not there, and it cannot be there because of the other climatic condition in which food crops are grown. So this is one of the reason that one we produce product in a heavy amount in one season, and the products they do get cheaper because of the abundance of them in the market, or there is a stronger supply side and there is maybe lesser demand in that area. So maybe then we need to preserve our foods, and this is apparent in the case of fruits and vegetables, especially in case of fruits. Most of the fruits are produced in Pakistan in areas in one specific season, and then they do waste a lot of food in Pakistan as well as in the worldwide as well. There's a heavy amount of food that is wasted due to this factor, because the food might produce in a very higher amounts in certain times. So it needs to be preserved. So that's why we preserve food and to overcome this kind of planning, improper planning in agriculture. Another thing is the spoilage factor as well, because as I said, there might be time and we have got abundant supplies of products in the market, and the foods are perishable in nature. They do have a specific shelf life. We cannot store them for years and years, so that's why the spoilage factor is also there. We do get a lot of food that gets spoiled in every country. That is actually a wastage, because once the food is spoiled, we cannot get any value or benefit from that food. So spoilage is another reason why we need to have preservation techniques, so we can use these techniques to actually reduce or stop the spoilage of food. Now we have got a lot of other value added products from the food possible, as we discussed through the advent of technologies, and there's so many new technologies available that has also lead to the consumer preferences as well. The consumer preferences are changed. That's why a lot of value added products are required by the industry, by the consumer. So in order to produce the value added products and large number of that value added products as per the demands of today's market, the preservation of food is very critical, because if you can't preserve food, it is not possible to produce any variety in the final products. Again, why we are looking for the consumer side now, as I said, that consumer demands are also for variety of product. So this variety of food product in the consumer demand is due to the many factor. For example, diet is also important factor, because people want to have a balanced diet available throughout the year, every time of the season, in every place where they want this food to be available. So that makes it more important for the industry actually to produce large amount of food, variety of food, and they should be preserved in a way that it can be available to people or the end users so that they can consume it and the producer can have economic benefit due to this factor. Another thing, this is a burning issue, especially for our countries and other developing countries. Like this is the food security issue, because as we earlier said, that more than half of our population is food insecure. By being food insecure, it means that they do not have access to food, safe, healthy, nutritious food in their daily lives, whether it's not affordable, whether it's not available economically, or whether it's not physically available to them. So they cannot get access to food which is safe, healthy, nutritious. So food security is a serious issue that affects the overall health of a population, their productivity of a population, and their role in the economic development of the countries. So if we cannot preserve food, if there's so much spoilage of food, so this one of the another factor is we produce enough food. If this food does not get spoiled during this supply chain, then maybe we have enough food to feed the population of the world. But the problem is spoilage. So once our food gets spoiled during the supply chain process from farm to fork, there is a lot of spoilage. So this goes wastage. So this is basically a wastage in our system, because the food gets wasted. It does not get reached to the ultimate consumer. So this consumer suffers, and because it's not available, the consumers that does not get enough nutritious, healthy food, then they develop different diseases and inadequacies in their life. So these are the major reasons that actually force us to look for all these different preservation technologies, preservation techniques, different approaches that can make food available to the masses in variety, as well as in physical economic access as well. So if normally what we look in food preservation, there are three factors that we look for preservation of food. We look at the desired level of quality of food. It is possible that we may lose the quality of food. The food may still be safe, but the quality is not good, so it would not bring you good price. So we would want not only the food to be not to be spoiled, but the quality of the food must be maintained. For example, the color of any vegetable. If we want a greener vegetable, or especially for peas, if we want to have green color peas, they are a quality factor. They may not be, we still can consume the food which does not have that ideal color. It may be safe, but the consumer would not prefer that quality defect inside your food. So this is one of the factor that decides how much preservation needs to be done, why preservation needs to be done, because we need to maintain the quality of our food products. Another thing to be considered is the length of preservation. For how long a food must be preserved, because we need to look at that how much consumption of food is there, how much need of the food is there in the population, and how long it must be available within the market, and how long we can actually store it so that it is safe, it is healthy, it do not loses the quality. So this preservation length is an important factor. And the last factor is the group of people for whom we preserve food. We need to look at whether we are looking for any specialty end users, which are the one who need to consume that food. So we need to look at the dynamics of the market. For example, what kind of food is consumed by what kind of people, and at what time, and what form the food is required by these people. For example, maybe for soldiers working in areas like as Siachen or glaciers, we need to look at the kind of food available that can be given to this kind of end users. So it may be the canned food products, they are more suitable than the fresh food products. So we have to consider the end user as well. So these were the different factors which let us know that we need to preserve food and the way we preserve our food.